Griffith. Griffith was a hero, a visionary, a savior, to the world and to Guts. He spoke of dreams that burned brighter than war. He led an army from nothing. He won battles that should have been impossible. But when the dream was threatened, Griffith chose to sacrifice everything and everyone. In one of the most brutal betrayals in anime history, he offered up his comrades, his own band of the Hawk, to ascend as a demonic god hand, Femto. Their screams echoed in a blood-red eclipse, while Griffith stood reborn, emotionless, divine, inhuman. This wasn't the fall of a hero. It was the unveiling of a monster who had always been hiding behind a smile. And to make it worse, he didn't just sacrifice his friends. He violated the woman who loved him, just to shatter the man who followed him. Griffith isn't evil because he had power. He's evil because he used it, coldly, deliberately, to turn dreams into nightmares. Johan Liebert. Johan Liebert doesn't shout. He doesn't laugh maniacally or wear a mask. He walks into a room, smiles, and people die. In Monster, Johan is called the perfect human. But behind the angelic face is something far worse than evil. A void, calm, calculating, and quietly terrifying. He doesn't kill for revenge. He doesn't even enjoy it. He kills to test the limits of the human soul, to see how far people will fall when he gives them a little push. A child jumps off a roof. A loving father kills his family. A therapist ends their own life. All because Johan whispered the right words, at the right moment. And the most chilling part, Johan wants to disappear, not as a criminal, not as a legend. He wants to erase himself from existence, as if he was never real at all. He's not just a villain, he's a mirror, reflecting the darkest corners of the human psyche, and asking, if I am a monster, what does that make you? Shou Tucker. In a world filled with monsters, war, and forbidden alchemy, Shou Tucker is one of the most horrifying characters in Fullmetal Alchemist. Not because he's strong, not because he's violent, but because he's disturbingly human. Tucker was a state alchemist, a man of science, a father. But behind that quiet, scholarly image was a man desperate to maintain status at any cost. When his research stalled, he did the unthinkable. He used alchemy to fuse his own daughter, Nina, with her dog, Alexander, creating a living, breathing chimera. A creature that could still speak, that still recognized her name, that still called him Papa. He didn't kill her. He erased her identity, her future, her humanity, all to keep his job. Shou Tucker didn't break the laws of alchemy. He broke the laws of nature, of love, of fatherhood. And the scariest thing, he felt no guilt, because in his eyes, it was just research. Makima. Makima doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't need to. Because when Makima speaks, people listen, even if they don't want to. In Chainsaw Man, Makima is introduced as a savior, a government agent who protects humans from devils, a calm, confident guide to the lost, broken soul of Denji. But behind those eyes is something ancient, something monstrous. Makima isn't just a devil, she is the control devil, the embodiment of domination. She doesn't kill with rage, she kills with obedience. She makes people beg to serve her, then discards them like they were never human at all. She turns love into chains, fear into loyalty, and free will into nothing. Every act of kindness she shows, calculated. Every smile, a leash. And when the truth finally comes out, when we see how many lives she manipulated, how many people she crushed beneath her hand, there's no satisfaction, only silence. Because Makima's evil isn't in what she does. It's in how little she values anyone who isn't useful. To her, people aren't people, they're tools, and she's always the one holding the handle. Light Yagami. Light Yagami was never a monster. He was a model student, smart, disciplined, respected. The kind of person society calls a genius. But then he found the Death Note and the power to kill, anonymously. At first, he only targeted criminals, murderers, rapists, people the world had already judged. But it didn't take long before Light wasn't just judging criminals. he was judging everyone. He became Kira, judge, jury, and executioner for the entire world. And somewhere along the way, like Yagami, stopped seeing himself as human. He began to speak of justice, but acted out of ego. He claimed to be saving the world, but murdered anyone who questioned him. Friends, enemies, innocents. It didn't matter, because Light believed in one thing above all. I am justice. Not I seek justice. Not I fight for justice. I am. He didn't fall into darkness. He walked into it, eyes wide open, convinced the world would thank him. But in the end, he died alone, begging, bleeding, broken, not as a god, not even as a villain, just a boy who believed he was above consequence. Donquixote, Doflamingo. In One Piece, most villains are loud, chaotic, brutal, but Don Quixote Doflamingo is different. He smiles, all the time. Behind pink feathers and sunglasses is a man who enjoys suffering, not just inflicting it, but orchestrating it. Doflamingo was born a celestial dragon, a literal god among men. But when his father gave up that divine status, the world turned on them. Doflamingo watched his mother die, then watched a mob torture his family, then killed his own father for stripping away their power. And in that moment, something snapped. Doflamingo didn't become a villain out of vengeance. He became one out of belief, the belief that weakness is sin, and only those who control others deserve to live. He enslaved a kingdom, turned children into test subjects, sold weapons and artificial devil fruits to fuel war, and through it all, he laughed, not because it was funny, but because the world is cruel, and Doflamingo decided he would be cruel. Frieza. Frieza doesn't hate you. He just thinks you're beneath him, all of you. In a universe full of powerful beings, Frieza is something worse, a tyrant with a god complex. He doesn't conquer planets. He erases them. He doesn't kill to survive. He kills because it amuses him. Frieza led a galactic empire built on fear. He enslaved entire races, wiped out civilizations, and then committed one of the greatest genocides in anime history, destroying planet Vegeta and nearly every Saiyan with it, all while sipping wine. And when he found out a Saiyan survived, Goku, he didn't just want revenge. He wanted domination, to crush the last spark of resistance beneath his golden boot. Even death couldn't stop him. He came back stronger, came back smarter, and somehow, even more evil. Frieza isn't angry. He's elegant, effortless, unapologetic, and that's what makes him terrifying. Because in his eyes, he's not the villain of the story. You are. Lucy. Lucy was born into a world that hated her, not because of anything she did, but because she was different, a Diclonius, a mutated human with invisible arms capable of tearing people apart. From the moment she could walk, she was treated like a monster, beaten, abused, isolated, and when she finally broke, she really broke. What followed was a bloodbath. She didn't just kill her tormentors, she killed anyone who came near her. Men, women, children. And yet, somewhere deep inside her, there's still a fragment of innocence, a desire to be loved, to belong. That's what makes Lucy so terrifying. Because she's not a villain in the traditional sense. She's a victim who became something even worse. Her story asks a haunting question. If you raise someone in cruelty, can you really be surprised when they become cruel? Haiden. In Naruto, most villains have a reason, a broken past, a misunderstood goal, but not Haiden. Haiden kills because he loves it. He's a religious zealot, a follower of the death god Jashin. His body is immortal, his rituals are gruesome, and his joy is genuine. He doesn't fight for justice, revenge, or peace. He fights for sacrifice, for the rush of shared pain. He captures his victims, carves a ritual circle, and slowly, ceremonially, slaughters them, while laughing, praying, and bleeding along with them. To Haiden, killing isn't just murder, it's worship, and every scream is a hymn. He doesn't want power, he He wants to serve something darker. And the worst part? He's still alive, buried underground, still conscious, still praying. Envy. Envy is a shapeshifter, a deceiver, a master of manipulation. But beneath the smirk and cruelty is a rotting core of insecurity. In Fullmetal Alchemist, envy doesn't kill because they need to. They kill because they're jealous of humans, of their relationships, of their love. Envy orchestrated a war that killed thousands, just to watch humanity tear itself apart. They mocked human emotion, but secretly craved it. And when their true form was revealed, it wasn't powerful. It wasn't beautiful. It was a writhing, deformed mass, screaming with rage and self-hate. In their final moment, envy didn't go out fighting. They took their own life because they couldn't stand being pitied. They weren't just evil, they were hollow. So, what makes a villain truly evil? Is it the body count, the cruelty, the lack of remorse? Or is it something deeper, a reflection of what we fear inside ourselves? Because each of these characters didn't just fight the hero, they forced us to ask hard questions. How far would you go for power, for justice, for survival? In the end, evil in anime isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers, smiles, and waits. And the scariest part? You never see it coming.